Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something right now. Some of y'all are hurt because he didn't choose you. He walked away, right? You gave your all, you showed up, you believed in him, and in the end, he picked her. But let me put it to you straight. He might have chosen her, but you will be the one he wants back. Men often choose comfort over challenge, but value comes from growth, and you were his growth. That's the truth people don't always want to say out loud. You were the reason he started becoming a better version of himself. You made him think. You made him work. You made him dig deep. But see, growth ain't always fun. It ain't always easy. And not everybody's built to handle a woman who brings that kind of energy into a man's life. Some men just ain't ready for the kind of woman that makes them level up. So what do? They run. They retreat. They look for what feels easy, for what doesn't challenge them too much. That's when they pick the comfortable option, the woman who doesn't ask them to become more. That's who they choose. Not because she's better, not because she loves him more, but because she doesn't make him uncomfortable. But baby, let me tell you, being uncomfortable is where the magic happens. You were the one that made him stretch, that made him question his choices, that made him pause and ask, am I really living right? Am I becoming the man I'm supposed to be? That's growth. And growth always feels like pressure at first, but eventually it turns into power. And that's what you were giving him. Now listen, I know it hurt watching him leave, watching him walk away like everything you invested didn't matter, like all the time, the love, the belief, the prayers. You gave all of that and more, and he just turned his back. But you've got to understand something deeper. Some people don't know what they have until they don't have it anymore. Some men only understand the value of a woman like you when they try to replace you and come up short every single time. Because what you gave him wasn't just attention, it was transformation. You changed his environment. You gave him a new lens. You showed him how a real woman operates. That wasn't light work. That was legacy level impact. You planted seeds in him he's not even mature enough to water yet. But one day he will be, and when that moment comes, he's going to remember you. He's going to remember the way you challenged him to speak with purpose. He's going to remember how you didn't let him settle for halfway effort. He's going to remember how you didn't beg, but you made your standards clear. He's going to remember how your love wasn't based on convenience, but character. That's something no man forgets. He'll smile with her, maybe post pictures with her, try to convince the world he's happy, but inside, deep down, he's replaying everything you ever said. Every time he's facing something real in life and she doesn't know how to speak life into him, he's going to remember how you used to pray with him, how you knew when he was lying just by the sound of his silence, how you held him accountable but never made him feel small. That kind of woman doesn't fade. That kind of woman becomes the voice in his head long after you've gone quiet. See, he thought you were a chapter, but baby, you were the whole story. And one day he's going to wish he read the book cover to cover instead of skipping to something easier. But by the time he understands what you were, what you gave, and what he lost, you'll be gone. You'll be further, wiser, stronger. He'll be standing in the wreckage of his comfort, realizing he traded growth for temporary ease. But growth, that's the prize. That's the goal. That's the legacy. And you were that all along. Let me break it down for you real simple. He chased what was easy, not what made him grow, not what made him look in the mirror, not what challenged him to rise up, just what was convenient, comfortable, and didn't ask too much from him. And you know why? Because that's what a lot of men do when they don't yet know their own worth. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to dig into their wounds. They don't want to fix what's broken inside them. They just want to feel good in the moment. So they choose what flatters their ego, not what feeds their soul. They go after the one who laughs at their jokes but doesn't check their spirit. The one who claps for their mess because she's too afraid to lose their attention. The one who tells them they're perfect when deep down they know they're not even close. That's who they pick, not because she's the best woman for them, but because she lets them stay the same. And baby, you weren't that. You weren't easy. You were love with depth. You were purpose. You were the type of woman that made a man want to become more than just enough. You didn't praise potential. You demanded presence. You didn't stay silent to keep the peace. You spoke truth to call out growth. And let me tell you something. That kind of woman scares a weak man. That kind of woman rattles the spirit of someone who ain't ready to evolve. So when he met you, yeah, he felt something real, but he also felt pressure. Pressure to step up, pressure to be honest, pressure to stop playing and start building. And instead of leaning into it, instead of saying, this woman is making me better, he ran back to what made him feel safe, not stretched. He didn't want to grow. He just wanted to feel wanted. And anybody can give you attention, but not everybody can elevate your life. See, it's easy to choose someone who doesn't demand the best from you. It's easy to be with someone who lets you slide. But that kind of love doesn't build legacy. That kind of love doesn't challenge you to face your fears, take accountability, and become the man you were born to be. You did all that. You looked him in the eye and loved him through his potential, but you also asked him to show up. And when he couldn't, when he wouldn't, he ran. He told himself you were too much, too demanding, too strong. But what he really meant was you were too real. And real is hard to face when you're still hiding from yourself. He didn't choose better. He chose easier. And there's a big difference, because better builds you, but easy just entertains you. Better holds you accountable, but easy lets you coast. Better loves you at your lowest, but still speaks to your highest self. And that, my friend, is what you were, the woman who didn't just want to be in his life. She wanted to see his life go to the next level. You believed in him more than he believed in himself, and that scared him. So he ran toward comfort, toward silence, toward praise without pressure. But trust and believe, one day that comfort will get cold. One day he's going to look around and realize that everything feels quiet, but nothing feels alive. That's when your absence is going to start speaking louder than your presence ever did. He'll sit in silence and remember how you held him together when he was falling apart. He'll remember how you knew his dreams even when he stopped chasing them. He'll remember how you were building while he was just existing. And it's going to hit him. He didn't lose a woman. He lost the one person who saw greatness in him before he ever proved it. He chased what was easy, but what he'll crave, what he'll miss, what he'll want back is you. See, there's a moment in every man's life when he realizes what he had, but it doesn't usually happen while he's still holding it. It happens after it's gone. It happens when silence becomes louder than your voice, when your absence speaks clearer than all your words ever did. And the thing that hits him the hardest isn't just that you're gone, it's how you left. You didn't scream, you didn't beg, you didn't break, you didn't go crazy on him. You walked. Not in weakness, not in fear, not in desperation, but in dignity. You left with your head held high, your peace in place, and your standards still intact. And let me tell you something, baby. That's what messed him up the most, because when a woman can walk away like that, it means she knows her worth. And a man never forgets the woman who gets valuing something valuable. He expected drama. He expected tears. He thought you tried to convince him to see your value, but you didn't. You let the door close quietly behind you, and when you did, that's when your power hit him. That's when he realized that strength ain't loud. Real strength doesn't chase. Real strength doesn't fight to stay where it's no longer honored. It simply leaves. You gave him the gift of your presence, and when he couldn't handle it, you gave him the consequence of your absence. And now he's living in that consequence every single day. At first, he might have felt free, thought he got a pass, thought he could slide into something new and forget about you. But what he didn't know was your strength had already shaped him. Your energy, your wisdom, your backbone, it left a fingerprint on his soul. And now that you're gone, he's realizing how rare that was, because he might have found another body, but he didn't find another backbone. He might have found another smile, but he didn't find another soul that could look him in the eye and make him want to be better. That's what he's missing now. Not just the love, but the strength that came with it. The foundation you gave, the stability, the power that made him feel safe, even when life was shaking. That kind of strength doesn't fade. That kind of woman doesn't get replaced. See, what he had with you was more than a relationship. It was a season of growth. And now he's stuck in the memory of that season. He's remembering how you handled things with grace when he was messy, how you stood firm when he was all over the place, how you spoke life into him when he was surrounded by noise. That's the kind of strength men don't recognize until they feel the emptiness without it. And the thing that breaks him slowly and quietly is that you're not angry, you're not bitter, you're better. You're glowing now, healing now, thriving in silence. And he's watching, maybe from a distance, maybe from fake pages, maybe from mutual friends, but trust me, he's watching. And what he sees is a woman who didn't need revenge, didn't need attention, didn't need to prove anything. All you needed to do was leave with dignity. And that alone shook him. Because deep down, every man knows when a woman can walk away like that, she ain't ever looking back. That was your final act of love for yourself. And the strength you showed by walking away, that's what he'll respect for the rest of his life, even if he never says it, even if pride won't let him admit it, even if time keeps y'all apart. He'll remember that walk, that calm, that grace, that silence. Because in the end, it wasn't your words that broke him. It was your strength. You want to know why he still brings your name up in conversations that got nothing to do with you? Why he still scrolls through your old pictures when he thinks nobody's watching? Why he stares off into space when someone brings up something that reminds him of the life he had with you? It's simple. You left a mark. A real woman, the kind that doesn't just show up, but shows him who he can become, leaves behind something deeper than memory. She leaves an imprint. And that kind of imprint don't fade. Not with time, not with a rebound, not with distractions, not even with somebody new sleeping in your place. See, there's levels to this thing. Some women enter a man's life and make noise for a moment. But a real woman enters and rearranges his spirit. She changes the way he sees himself, the way he dreams, the way he loves. She doesn't just give love, she gives impact. And that's what you did. You weren't a phase, you were a shift. You brought meaning, you brought energy that shook up his comfort zone. You didn't just cook for him or clean up behind him or send cute texts. You poured into him. You spoke into the future he didn't even see yet. You prayed over him when he didn't know how to pray for himself. You pushed him toward purpose when he was still running from responsibility. That ain't light work. That's soul work. And the thing is, he might have not known what to do with a woman like you. Maybe he mistook your strength for pressure. Maybe he thought your boundaries were limitations. Maybe he got distracted. Maybe he thought he could find the same energy somewhere else with less work, less truth, less accountability, so he walked. Or maybe you did. Either way, he moved on, or so he thought. He tried to fill the void, tried to plug the gap with someone new, somebody softer, quieter, easier, somebody who didn't challenge him, somebody who didn't expect him to grow. But what he's finding out now is that new don't mean better. It just means different. And different doesn't fill the hole a real woman leaves behind. That new woman, she might be sweet, she might be fun, she might even love him in her own way, but she doesn't touch the parts of him you touched. She doesn't see the layers you saw. She doesn't speak to the king in him the way you did. And he feels that. Oh, trust and believe. He feels it, even if he don't say it, even if he pretends he's moved on. Because every man who's had a real woman knows you don't recover from that. You adjust to the loss. You start comparing every little thing, the way she talks, the way she touches, the way she shows up, and none of it feels the same. Because it ain't. Because she ain't you. That imprint you left, that's not going away. Not after 3 months, not after 3 years, not even after a lifetime. You showed up in a way that reshaped him. You gave him real, you gave him tough love, you gave him softness wrapped in steel, you gave him truth even when it hurt. That's unforgettable, that's irreplaceable. And the deeper truth is, he knows he fumbled. He knows he lost someone rare, someone real, someone who didn't just love him, but tried to elevate him. And now he's stuck trying to convince himself that the void in his chest isn't you. That the ache he feels at 2 a.m. isn't from the way your laugh used to sound in the dark. That the silence he gets now is better than the conversations you used to spark just by walking into a room. But no matter how much time passes, no matter how many people he meets, he'll still feel you, because a woman like you doesn't just come and go. She leaves an imprint, and that never disappears. Let's get one thing straight. He might have chosen her, but you were the one who taught him what real love feels like, what it means to be respected, honored, valued, what it means to be seen. You didn't just show up and give him your heart. You gave him a blueprint, a new way to love, a new way to think, a new way to move through this life as a man. He didn't just lose a woman.